Hello, in this video we're going to explore a concept called integer division. So in our last video we left with what would the answer to this problem here be. If I have an integer called num and I set that equal to 1 over 2, what would be printed on the screen? Now we know integers only hold integer values, so 0.5 is not possible. So if we run this, the question is it going to show a 0 or a 1? And it turns out it gives you a 0. So what we need to consider with integer division is that Java will perform the division process but simply chop off the decimals. It doesn't matter how large a number is. And so if it's 3.9, we're going to get 3. If it's 4.7, we're going to get 4. It's never going to round up. It simply chops off the decimals. So if I put a number here, like 3 over 2, this is going to give us the value of 1. And there we see. The next thing that's important to take away from this problem is how Java interprets numbers when it sees them. So earlier we talked about how if I have an integer, so if I run this program now, we get 3. However, if I change this variable to a double, we're going to get 3.0. So my next question for you is, what would I get if I ran this program? And what we're going to actually get is the value of 1.0. And let's talk about why that is. What Java does is, remember, it doesn't care about the left-hand side initially. With an assignment statement, it always looks to the right-hand side first. And when Java looks at numbers, what it actually does is it considers its type as well. So if a number is written without a decimal, it is interpreted as an integer. So we see here that Java would interpret this as an integer divided by another integer. Since Java sees an integer over an integer, it assumes you're going to put that in an integer. So when it does the actual division, it chops off the decimals right away. So what it actually puts into num is the value 1. But since num is a double, it actually turns into 1.0. So the question is, how do I actually force Java to do this division properly? And to do this, what I need to do is to indicate that one of these values, either the 3 or the 2, is actually a double. And to do that, we simply put a 0.0 onto one of the numbers. So now what Java sees is a double divided by an integer. And since doubles are larger numbers in terms of memory space, it's going to actually return a double from this case. So if I run this, I get 1.5. Integer division is a subtle idea that initially seems very challenging, but as you get to understand it, you start to pick it out more and more. Often you'll find you'll be working through a program and you'll see all your math looks perfect, but you're getting the wrong answer, and often that's a result of some number type issue. Let me show you another example. If I had this. So what we might say now is, it might say, well, this is a double, so therefore it's going to take 3 divided by 2, which is 1.5, and then add 1.0, giving me 2.5. But when I run this, I actually get 2.0. The reason why I get 2.0 is because, again, Java looks in parts in isolation. So initially it only looks at 3 over 2. So it sees an integer divided by an integer and returns the value 1. Then it adds an integer plus a double, so it generates the value 2.0, and then it puts that into num. Just to wrap up, the last point is, if I happen to make this an integer value here and executed this program, you would actually get an error. And the error is because this right-hand side actually generates a double, and we can't put a double into an integer. Well, we'll do lots of practice with this, and hopefully you'll catch all those little subtle arithmetic problems that pop up along the way. I hope that helps.